Yeah? Alright, so this is when I was in Louisiana, my first year in university, my first actual weekend there. Um, I think I had been there about 4 days already because I was in Navy ROTC and it was my freshman year, so we had to arrive early to get basically introduced to the school and what it meant to be ROTC, Navy ROTC, etc. And I got there even a day earlier, I think, than the Navy ROTC freshman because I was coming from Bolivia and there's only one flight a week. So I arrived something like a Tuesday, I think, and everybody else arrived on a Wednesday or Thursday. So, in fact, that the little side note was that when I arrived, I was thinking that, oh my God, everybody here is huge. These people are all like, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches taller than me and heavier. And I remember thinking that I'm never gonna even meet girls here because I'm a midget. And it turned out that the American football team was there practicing from the school, and so these are all football players, and that was why. But I remember the first hour that I was there until I found out the truth. I was thinking, I hate university. This sucks. In high school, I'm normal size everywhere. Everywhere here, I'm seeing these giants, and anyway, so my insecurities went crazy. But the first day actually, that all the students started arriving, and I think it was actually freshmen first, so we're all first year students. And I met my roommate the first day, that day. His name was Pete, he was from New Jersey, and he was very different from me in every way. And we talked a bit, and I went to get some beer at a place, I think it was called the Rathskeller. I don't know if it's still the campus bar at Tulane, but it was then. And I was there for 2 or 3 hours drinking some beers, just talking to people there. And I looked over towards the door and I saw Pete walk in. And he saw me, he said, "Hey Gordon, what's up?" And so we started drinking beers and talking. And after 1 or 2 beers, not too many, we decided that we were going to go to the French Quarter. Now it must have been his idea because I didn't know what the French Quarter was. I just knew that I had maybe heard of it, or he seemed excited by the idea, so I thought, what the hell. So we go into the French Quarter, and this involved walking across the campus, across a few streets, down a block or 2 blocks, and catch a tram, but they call it a trolley. So they catch a trolley. So we're walking to the trolley stop, we're still on campus, and these 2 girls are walking in the other direction. I remember one of them was attractive, at least to me, and one of them wasn't. But as we were passing them, Pete said hi and asked them if they wanted to come with us. And they said, sure. So now there's 4 of us. And we're going to the trolley, and on the way to the trolley stop, there was a bar. So we stopped and got some drinks. And in New Orleans at that time, the drinking age was 18. So we were all legal to drink. The other thing that was important in the story is the 2 girls didn't drink. So every time we were having an alcoholic drink, they were having a Coca-Cola or Sprite or something like that. So we go into the first bar, and we start drinking. I think I ordered a caipirinha, Pete, maybe a Cuba Libre or something like that, and the 2 girls Sprite. So we're just getting to know each other, and I was telling him about living in Bolivia, or telling them about living in Bolivia. And I remember I mentioned that in Bolivia, one of the things that was fun to do was to say seco when everybody's drinking. And what seco means is that you all salute each other and then drink everything that's in your drink in one go. And the reason it's called seco is because seco in Spanish means dry. So Pete thought that was a funny idea, and about 10 seconds later, we're secoing the first drink. So if Pete and I seco, the girls don't seco their Sprites. That would have been probably not too good in terms of taste or sensation, since it's a fizzy drink. So we seco our drink. We ordered a second round of drinks, and within about 2 sips, I had the funny idea of wouldn't it be great to say seco again. So Pete and I seco our drink, and I think we only had 2 drinks in the first place. And I think we went to 2 places before the trolley stop, had 2 drinks each, secoed all of them. So far we've secoed 4 drinks, and the girls have drunk their Sprites probably pretty quickly to keep up with us secoing everything. And we went from there. We get off the trolley, and we get into the first. There's a bar right across from the trolley stop, so we go in there, seco 2 more drinks. And we were taking turns, or just sort of randomly saying seco, but we rarely made it past 2 or 3 sips before we would say seco. And after 2 probably not 3, 1 or 2, but I would guess 2 bars. Cat, I'm doing something right now. No, 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 not right, kitty, no, no, that's what I thought. Off you go. Okay, so, what was I gonna say? So after we get off the trolley, and we seconded our drinks, we weren't sure where to go, which direction, neither one of us had ever been to the French Quarter. So I remember one of the girls, who was from the area, she said, we should go to Pat O'Brien's. And Pat O'Brien's was, maybe still is, the best known bar in New Orleans. And and so, Kitty, stop it. So, yeah, this makes telling the story very easy. So we go to Pat O'Brien's, and Pat O'Brien's has one drink in particular called the Hurricane. It's about, or it was, everything that I was saying is a good couple decades old. It's about this big, and you can either get it in a glass for at the time $3 extra, or you can get it in a plastic glass or a plastic cup container. And I remember the first one that we bought was in the glass. I wanted the souvenir. So we each paid $3 extra. We get our Hurricanes, the girls get their Sprites, and we go sit down. And I don't think we made it more than about this far into the drink, so about maybe a fifth or a sixth of the way. Kitty, what I'm trying to say is, okay, not you either. So we made it about a fifth or a sixth of the way into the Hurricane. I remember Pete got a funny look on his face and a smile, and he looked up and he said, "Secco." And so we secco the whole Hurricane, both of us, through a straw. Somebody has since told me, I don't know if it's true or not, that through a straw is worse because you're getting no oxygen. You're just, straight up. I have no clue. It sounds like it might be true, but so do quite a few things, like maybe the earth is round. So we secco this. We go get the second Hurricane. And we secco that. This time it was my brilliant idea after about even less than a six. I think as soon as we got it, I said secco. So we secco the second Hurricane. So we get a third Hurricane. And I honestly can't tell you whether it was the third or the fourth one, where after about 1/3 of the drink, I can't tell you how, but I knew that if I drank anything more, I mean even the tiniest bit, that I wasn't gonna get sick. I just knew I was gonna die. So I took the straw out of my mouth, didn't say anything, and just dumped the rest of the drink into a big potted plant that was sitting next to me. And I remember that I looked at Pete, and maybe this was just because I was a bit drunk, but I swear that I saw this little smirk, and I knew that I was never going to hear the end of this, that Pete had made it through his last Hurricane, or I assume last, and I hadn't. But Pete only made it about this much further into his Hurricane when, I swear this is true, I was watching him thinking about how, this year's going to suck because Pete's going to be talking about the Hurricanes and how I'm a lightweight or something. But he started to turn green, and it started on his neck, and it just slowly went up his face. I was watching him turn green, and when it finally made it to about his forehead, he just stopped drinking about halfway through his drink, maybe a little bit less than halfway. Didn't say a thing, just handed me his Hurricane, and somehow without any communication, I knew that what he wanted me to do was dump his in the plant too. So I dumped his. I remember we made a 2-person conga line to get to the bathroom, so we didn't want to get lost. So we made our way to the bathroom, came back, watched the girls finish their Sprites, and probably talked about some drunken nonsense during that time. And we decided it was time to go back to the school. This was Tulane University. And we walk, and one of my memories, I think this came first, was that I was walking, or we were walking, and Pete dropped his glass. So one moment, and sadly my thought wasn't poor Pete, my thought was, ha ha, I have my glass and he doesn't. And I think I made it about 3 more minutes before, in super slow motion, I remember my arm swinging out, and I remember the container that the glass was in slipping from my grasp and making this amazing slow motion parabola until it on the ground. And I remember looking at it and it's just stopping. And Pete told me a couple days or weeks later that that I just stood there, like motionless, until finally oh well, and we kept walking. And so we get to the trolley stop where we'd gotten off. We're waiting for the trolley, and I was starting to notice that the world was sort of spinning a bit. And Pete started talking to a guy. There were two guys near us, and Pete started talking to them. Both college-age guys, it looked like. And I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to what they were saying, but I kind of noticed this. It seemed friendly, but I noticed this strange undertone that I later realized was what Pete's like. He was sort of making fun of the other guy and thinking he was being really clever by doing it in a way that was not obvious. But the other guy was catching on, and they were sort of insulting each other. And even in my super drunken state, I was getting the idea this wasn't really friendly, even though they weren't being outwardly hostile. But finally, Pete said something that I remember thinking that it sounded like he was saying the other guy was fat without actually saying that. And while I was trying to figure out whether it was true or not, Pete said something like, well, the other guy said something, and then Pete said, well, you want to come over here and do something about it? The other guy said, yeah. And they started fighting. And I remember, like, as the guy was coming over, I was thinking, well, wait, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to jump in? Am I supposed to hold the other guy back? Am I supposed to turn and run, or kick the guy in the balls, or help Pete attack that one guy? You know what? I hadn't been in that specific of a situation. So I remember thinking about it, and then I put my hand up to my face to, like, I don't know, scratch my nose, or maybe I was worried I had hurricane on my mouth or something. But I go like this, and I look at my hand, and there's blood on my hand. So somehow, right at that moment, I thought of what I should do, which was I told the other guy, if you don't jump in, I won't jump in. And so he kind of said okay. And the fight didn't last very long, and it wasn't like a TMZ fight. They were just wrestling, it looked like. And so they get up, they separate, and we start walking away. And I remember the first thing I was thinking was that I didn't do the right thing. I should have jumped into the fight or something. So, you know, I stopped, and I was planning on turning and going back and restarting the fight when I heard police sirens. So I changed my mind and turned back around, and we kept walking. And we catch a taxi. In the taxi, Pete and I are doing our macho bullshit about, oh, next time, I got your back, yeah, I got yours. Girls are probably thinking, wow, what cool guys. And we get to the dormitory. We go up to the fifth floor, and I remember that was when I realized how bad the elevator smelled. You have to imagine it's an elevator that drunken students are using year after year after year, day after day, vomiting probably every single night. They clean it, but you just can't get the smell out. So I noticed that day, and the rest of the year, every time I got in that elevator, I could smell that smell. So we go up, we go to the fifth floor, which is where my room was, or our room. And the girls decline the invitation Pete offers of a nightcap, which is like basically means you like to come in and have sex. I mean, these are two fucking idiots that are drunk off their asses. The girls have had Sprite. So surprisingly, the girls turned it down and left. And a few minutes later, the next thing I remember doing is vomiting on my beautiful, from Bolivia, llama skin with fur. And I'd only recently discovered that you don't just shave the fur. The llama actually dies to make this, so it's the last one I was ever going to get. So I vomit on it. Hurricanes are bright red. So my vomit was beautiful, bright, fluorescent red. So I get that all over my llama skin rug, roll it up, thinking I'll clean it tomorrow, and put it in my closet. I did not unroll or touch or even look at that rug for the rest of the school year. So finally, when I'm getting ready to leave, I remember pulling it out of my closet and thinking, I wonder if this can be cleaned, opening it up, and no, maybe it could have, but I gave up, threw it away. But I have no idea what that room smelled like because I got so used to it, but maybe other people might have smelled my vomit-covered llama skin. It wasn't exactly a rug, it was kind of like a rug / wall hanging, but I used it next to the bed, or I had been using it there. The rest of my vomiting I managed to get into a garbage can, so then I decided to take a shower. Now during this time, Pete never vomited, never puked. The next day he actually woke up drunker than he had been when he went to bed the night before, and I think I remember him continuing to get drunk through most of the day, and it wasn't until that night that he started to have the hangover that lasted till the next morning, So Pete kind of suffered for it. Me, it was all right then and there. So I go and take a shower, and two other people, they weren't roommates, but they lived in the same hall, came in, said hi, Gordon, brushed their teeth, and left. And then a little while, sometime later, I don't know exactly how long, a little while, they come back in. They looked a little bit surprised to see me, brushed their teeth again. I have no reason why. No, I had no idea why at the time, and left. So a couple days later, I see them. And they're like, "Hey, Gord, that was a pretty long shower there, wasn't it?" And I said, "No, kitty." I didn't say no, kitty. I said, "Yeah, it's probably in there at least an hour now. It felt so nice." And they're like, "Dude, we came in, we brushed our teeth, we went to sleep, and one of them had an appointment for a job interview the next day. So they'd woken up pretty early, like 6:45 or something, and they'd gone back in, and I was still in the shower. So maybe I just fell asleep, or maybe I was so drunk that time passed that I have no idea. All I know is that I had not gone into the shower twice. I'd gone in that one time. So the next thing that happened was I went to bed, and that would be the end of the story, except I was telling the story to a friend of mine at the end of the year, close to like the last week or the second to last week of school, one of my Navy RTC friends. And he was like, "Well, wait, what weekend was that?" And I said, "That was the last Friday before classes started." He said, "Well, that's funny because I know two guys from my dormitory who went out that same night, and they told me they got into a fight, and one of the two guys that they fought with was so drunk that he got punched and didn't even know it." So that was where the blood had come from, and that was me. And I was like, uh-huh. So anyhow, that was my first night in Prague. In New Orleans party.